What's up, everybody? Welcome to, I don't even know what episode this is. Welcome to Mershon Minutes. We're here with Jordan Carr, minor league pitcher, drone pilot, and amazing photographer. Jordan, thanks for being on, man. Of
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Nick. Appreciate it.
course, of course. Let's start in the baseball world for those that don't know you. When did you realize baseball is the thing that I want to do long term, or this is the thing that I want to go after?
Yeah, I mean, that was just growing up. I've just played since I was four, basically. So I've always kind of aspired to be, in the major leagues, and that was always like a huge goal of mine. I didn't really know if it was like the most attainable thing, just like, softer tossing lefty and how saturated the baseball world is. But, I just kept on getting it, played throughout college, and had opportunities there, which is great. And then ended up playing independent ball, and then getting signed out of there. So making it to affiliate ball was just it's a huge goal in itself. But I'm not definitely not finished. Definitely not giving that up yet.
For sure. Did it click? When did it click for you that hey, this is something I could do and get paid for?
Uh, I would say just like through college, it was never like a one like instance thing, but just like I always found a way to have success. So I feel like at every level that I kind of pushed myself to, I would always play up. I would always play like with guys that are better than me, and I would always still like kind of have, you know, pretty good success. So I was just like, how much more can I keep going? So it just
Nice.
kind of kept on reassuring me that I can do it, I can do it, I can do it at each
Gotcha.
level.
From a routine workload standpoint, what was for let's go high school to college, college to affiliate ball, and then affiliate ball to for sorry, indie ball to affiliated ball. What was that? Did your routine change from a work ethic standpoint? Like what's that routine for you daily?
um
Just so that especially as a pitcher, where I'm throwing whatever every
yeah,
3 days,
you,
every
you
six
know it
days.
kind of depends on your role. So I mean, if you're a starter versus a reliever, because the relievers pretty much have to show up and be ready to go every single day, which that's tiring in itself. And I've been fortunate enough actually to be both of those roles. I've been a reliever, a piggyback guy, a starter. And it's really like the difference in how you change your routine is just like there's in affiliated ball, there's so many games. There's 150 some games. You only have off on Mondays. So like showing up to the park every single day with the exact same routine, like you kind of have to, it gets a little bit monotonous, but it's it's still you still have to do the things that you have to do to prepare yourself for the game.
Yeah,
And I've kind of found some things that, some days I might do, something else versus, and it's also about how your body feels too. You kind of listen to your body. And I've gotten pretty good at that of just like knowing what I have to do to prepare myself. Some days I might not do a certain stretch. Some days I might do a certain stretch. And it's really just, that's how I kind of, mix it up and not make it Groundhog Day every day.
for sure. Is there how do you stay in that? Because you said, hey, from a monotony standpoint, being on a submarine for 6.5 years, I understand the monotony of all day, every day. What was that? Is that a between the ears thing usually, or is that hey, what at what point did you say, hey, I need to listen to my body versus hey, this is just what I do every day?
Yeah, I mean, I say monotonous, but you also kind of have to have like the perspective, just like, bring in the light to the clubhouse every day. And if you do that, like that energy will feed off of you and, because not everyone's going to show up ready to play 150 games in a row. And, if you're that guy that kind of, brings everyone, together, just kind of like, sees the light and everything, or just kind of keeps the positive outlook. That's also a huge thing too. It's not only just like a routine thing, but like you said, sticking to that, routine. It's just what you have to do. Like when you have your goal in mind of trying to make it to the next level and the next level, like you're gonna find ways to get that done if you're actually serious about it. So
For sure. For sure. What was that jump from where was your biggest jump? Was your jump biggest jump, just competition wise or head wise, was that high school to college ball? Was that college ball to indie ball? Was that indie ball to affiliate? Like where from
That's
a
a
big jump where you're like, oh hey, I'm here.
That's a great question, and I would honestly go as specific as high A to double A. So I feel
Okay.
like last year when I pitched really really well in high A throughout the entire season, and double A was sort of like wow, this is like next level presence, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like even like the hitters had, I don't know if that was maybe me putting that on myself, like hyping up more than it was, but because they're still
Sure.
just hitters, and I faced those guys a month later in the fall league and all that. But it just kind of felt like it was that much more of a at bat was high to double A. But that's also, I say that, but if I were to settle in and have a month or so or 2 months in there, I would probably be having a different answer. But the 3 weeks
Sure.
there, I felt like I was like, wow, okay, this is like double A. Everyone's a call away from the big leagues.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just, I mean, I was on the mound and it was literally like, you could feel the presence of the game was just a tick higher.
Gotcha. No, that's huge because I've especially talking to some of the hitters, right? Some of the hitters have said that it's easier to hit in high A or double A than it is in a rookie ball or a low A, just because guys are all over the place on the bump.
Okay, that is true. I see what you're saying there. I have definitely heard that and I've seen that firsthand of just like kind of pitcher's experience. So like as you go up, guys are more accurate, guys are more confident in their stuff and they're going to throw more strikes, but their stuff also gets nastier. So
100%.
your sliders are better and you
Right.
might get some more chase pitches actually because they think you're going to be all in the zone. But
Sure.
as a hitter, it's a give and take.
Right. Well, no, easier to the point where when I'm stepping in the box, I know I might not die because the guy's throwing 96 and has no idea where it's going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just from a stuff standpoint, you've been in the have you did you start in high school? Give me, for people that don't know your background, where was home, and then did you, like, were you the dominant guy high school and college, or were you just up there dealing?
Yeah, I mean, I basically started when I was four.
Right.
I've always been on really competitive teams. I've always kind of pushed myself to be around guys that are better than me, all that. So, which that in itself just makes you better and kind of expect the most out of yourself. I mean, you know that from a business standpoint. So, that's the same thing with everything. But I went to Archbishop Spalding in Maryland. So I was raised in Maryland. Never really had many looks for colleges, or I just wasn't like the flashy toolsy guy, but I always found a way to win games, get outs, and do the things that really matter. So that's kind of what got me opportunities to UNC Asheville, which that was the best opportunity for me and my family. And it was great. I had a great time there, learned a lot, and then I took a fifth year because I had Tommy John surgery my sophomore year. So I took a fifth year to the College of Charleston,
Right.
which is where I played with your brother. And
Let's go,
then,
Joey.
yeah. And then I want to say Mershon, but yeah, all are Mershon. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All good. You're fine.
and then, and then I actually ended up having a sixth, like, season because of COVID. So that shut it
Yep.
down and had an extra year. And then still had no looks, still kind of was back to your question of like, was I a dominant guy? I wasn't dominant by any means, but I definitely had, I was one of like a go-to guys wherever I was.
Right.
Um, I would, I would say in high school, I was probably one of the go-to guys for sure. I pitched both championship games, which was great. And then, throughout college, I started on weekends. Sometimes came out of the pen and stuff, but I
For
was
sure.
definitely considered a go-to guy, whether you want to
Yeah.
call that dominant or not.
Yeah. No,
Um,
you're the guy that, as an outfielder, you're the guy where you're coming in and I'm out there in right field or left field being like, okay, we're good.
it's a
Versus,
guy
oh
you
crap,
trust,
here we
right?
go. Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So then after Charleston, funny story, I was sitting at dinner one day on a weekend series, and a buddy of mine was like, "Hey man, like, you want to play indie ball?" And I said, sure, if nothing happens, yeah, why not, right? So then a couple phone calls later, kind of committed to that team after our season was, going to end. So I was on the golf course with my now wife, and the guy, well, I was supposed to have a tryout in July, and
Yeah.
this was like probably April, maybe
Okay.
May, and I was on the golf course, and the guy called me up and was like, "Hey, man, if you can get here on Thursday, you'll pitch on Sunday." And I was like, "Oh gosh, all right, I gotta
Where
go."
where
So
where
like,
were where were you, and then where was here? Is this
this
like
was so this was
10
in
minutes away?
Charleston. This was all
Okay.
taken down in Charleston. No, he
Okay.
said if you can get here in Michigan, then you can play on Sunday. And I was like, "Hey, I gotta go."
No
And
way. I'm
that
going to Michigan. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a total change of plans because I was honestly in like a middle ground. I had no idea what I was doing, didn't know
Yeah.
what was kind of set forth for me in the next few stones. And he called me there. I was like, all right, sure. Kind of dropped everything I was doing, which wasn't much, but and then I went up there and ended up getting signed out of in like 2 months or so
Okay.
by the
Nice.
Twins.
How is that? What was that process like for my guys that are listening that are in indie ball now? Did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? Did we deal for 2 months?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was pressing the envelope of like, hey man, like actually, so I'll go back to this. I was coming out of the pen and I said, hey, is there any way I can start? Like I've started my entire career. I'll give you some good innings, this, that. I kind of like represented myself in a way of like, hey,
Yeah.
like I was pushing to, hey, can I start? Because I know that starters are going to get more opportunities, like more innings, that kind of thing.
Right.
And you're in a routine. And we didn't have many games. There was only like 3 games a week, maybe
Okay. Okay.
all at the same stadium. So it
Right.
was like 4 teams played at the same stadium. So you didn't play every day.
Okay. Well, yeah, your
And
opportunity to start there, especially with only three a week. You've got, wait, how many pitchers were on that team? 15, 20?
probably like 12 to 15.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was pressing the envelope saying, hey, is anyone interested? Anyone interested? And I kept putting good outings together. And, he's like, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. And, as, a scout from the Twins, they needed 4 guys and, they kind of picked one from each team and that was it. So I'm
Nice.
extremely thankful for that. It was just an awesome opportunity to get me to where I am today. So.
For sure. For sure. Let's talk a little on just what that support is, because people have this glamorous, hey, you're a pro ball player, this is the most amazing thing ever. What is what was that first intro to affiliated ball like, especially being part of the Twins organization?
Yeah, I mean the Twins treat us pretty well. They put us in there's like an on-site housing that's and not every team has that, which
Yeah.
we might take for granted sometimes just because you never get away from the facility if you're staying there. This year I was, lucky I shouldn't say, but I have a wife, so we lived off. We,
Right.
got like an Airbnb, so that was nice too. But yeah, the Twins treat us pretty well, but it was like it's almost like a my eye-opening experience was like how it's just sort of a pyramid and the bottom of affiliated ball is huge, but how you kind
Yeah.
of separate yourself. And at the very top, like you think high school goes like this, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of high school players, you got to stand out.
Right.
It's that much more precise when you get to affiliated ball because you
For
just
sure.
have it's every single day you have to like, yeah, these guys are your friends, but you also have to outperform them and stand out
Right.
to everyone. And a guy like myself who's, a free agent, you're gonna have to scrap and claw at every opportunity you get.
Right. Right. From a free agent sign guy versus a guy that went higher, is there, can you tell when you show up to the field? Because the dichotomy that I've seen is college ball, like we all want to win, right? We are here, game goal is to win, and yeah, we all want to get to the next level. But from a camaraderie standpoint, usually nobody in college is like, hey Jordan, I hope you get hurt tomorrow so that I can go play right, because I know I'm second on the
Yeah,
list. or I'm the
There,
fifth outfielder, and I'm like, oh no. What was that like? Just college to pro ball, and obviously maybe not that mindset, but you're clawing and scrapping in pro ball versus college ball, right?
yeah, I mean, we have some really good guys in the organization, and there's not really too many guys like that, that'll wish bad on anybody. I mean, that's kind of wrong as it gets. So and if anything does happen like that, like it kind of gets weeded out just because not like no one's gonna accept that. Like if you're
Right.
like, I'm gonna like we help each other out, like all the pitchers, me and some other pitchers, we have some really good conversations of just like how to get better, whether it be on the mental side or whether like how you're feeling or some exercises to help out with, what I've had success with versus what he's had success with. And so we kind of like feed off of each other. And it is still kind of that feeling of like, we want to win because it's still fun. Like you don't want to lose 150 some games.
Right.
That would just be a long, long season. But yeah, we kind of push for each other, but when you're between the lines, it's I have the ball, it's me versus you, and I'm gonna beat you, you know?
Sure. For sure. How did what is that usual? Is there a usual progression from let's go high hey when you got signed, was it straight to high A? Was it low? Like did you rookie ball at all?
Oh yeah. So as soon as I got signed, it was right after the draft, or maybe like a week or two after the
Okay.
draft. So I was pretty much in that same group as all the draft guys of, hey, we're gonna get on I say we're gonna get on site, we're gonna get down to the facility, and we're just gonna basically work out, see where everyone's at, do some throwing, introduce everybody to, the way we do things as with the Twins.
Right.
And then some guys would trickle into rookie ball. I think maybe two guys even trickled into low A, which is still on site because Fort Myers, like
Right.
you Florida State League, you play in the big league spring training stadiums,
Yep.
so it's all right there. So for the most part, it was, you know, you just kind of worked out as soon as you got signed. But the year after that, I actually started in extended spring training, which that was kind of like a wake up call just because I knew that I was good enough to be on that team,
Yep.
but it's just kind of, every day it's more and more of a thing that it's just basically a business. Like
Right.
and I'm not like a high valued guy by any means financially, but I'm giving myself opportunities because I'm pitching well.
Yeah.
And that was like a smack in the face just because I thought that I was good enough to be on that team, but it didn't really matter because, for other reasons. But they wanted me to like kind of still stay built up. So I was in rookie ball, which is just hot as anything. Like you're on the backfields at noon, 1 o'clock in
Yeah.
Southwest Florida, and it is hot. I mean, it's the same thing with the Florida State League. It's still
Yeah.
humid, but it's a little bit better of a humid, if you know what I mean. You're not
Sure.
in rookie ball.
Right.
So I would just pitch there and keep my innings built up. I ended up starting for the team in the game that got us the first half championship. So I things and like we ended up winning the first half, which that was a great experience. Like, I learned through it all, of course, and then stayed on the muscles throughout that entire year, which looking back, I was only there for a little bit more than half of a year, and it felt like it was forever. But like now having gone through a full season, like
Yeah.
it's not as bad, and
Right.
it's not doesn't feel that long.
For sure. Well, wake up 9 a.m. every morning or 8 a.m. every morning for the 1 o'clock game when it's 105
Yeah.
and there's what, four people in the stands? There, there's
Hmm.
there's there's your affiliated guys in the stands and maybe one or two of the
Doing radar
right.
and two
Everybody
scouts, maybe.
gotcha. Um, how did you get into or pivot here real quickly? How did you get into the drone photography world that we've seen on the gram?
Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of like a fun little hobby of mine, and it honestly just picked up. I was like, man, these pictures look really cool. I've always kind of had an eye for, taking some cool pictures. And I never really liked the editing process of it. I was never a fan of that. I can't stand it. I think it's the most tedious thing. So I know that baseball has taken me to some really cool places, whether that
Yeah,
be along the beach and the mountains, you name it. I've been to some really cool spots, and I just like to take some pictures of it. So I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I kind of get a drone. So I got a drone that was it's a DJI drone. It was kind of like middle, lower end, middle of the pack kind of drone.
sure.
Still not very cheap, but it got stolen out of my car.
Oh no.
So yeah, I ended up getting some insurance money out of it, and uh, I ended up getting a better drone. So like a little bit bigger of a drone, better pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like a little side hobby of mine that I like to, spend time and by the water and take some cool pictures, and it's kind of relaxing, get away from the field kind of thing.
For sure. Is there a process for that? Like we got to pass a test to fly a drone.
You
What was that like?
I didn't pass any tests. You have to like register your drone if it's above a certain weight, which I did that because I had one that was just above that limit.
Okay.
But if you want to make money from your drone, then that's when you have to take a test. It's the Part 107 exam. It's like part
Gotcha.
of the pilot's exam, just a little segment of it. But yeah, you have to
Okay.
pass that in order to, create a business or make money from it.
For sure. For sure. What is that therapeutic at this point? Is that like do
Yeah,
you sit
I
down and say,
actually,
hey, we're gonna go drone for 2 hours, or is that just, hey, we're
yeah,
over here, let's go?
it was it's very always like last minute. Like I'm just like, what, I'm just gonna go to the beach. Or the night before, I would like plan like a sunrise. Like I'm gonna take some pictures of the sunrise or something, go drive 30 minutes away to some sailboat that's sunk in the ground or something like that.
Sure.
And it is, I would say, therapeutic for sure, just because it gets your mind off of, the everyday things, and just kind of, changes your perspective a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it. You meet some cool people along the way who are also, enjoying maybe a nice sunset or sunrise, and some fishermen maybe. And specific, I like doing it on the water the most. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Nice. For those kids that's more recent, right? Was that something were you always taking pictures? Like did you have an outlet, high school, college?
Not really. I kind of, had a little bit of a a want to like sometimes use my mom's camera maybe, or like
Sure.
I like taking pictures of my phone and stuff, but never had like a legit camera.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it just kind of just randomly started. What, I'm just gonna start with this and see what happens. And I had a GoPro that never really worked out. I was never a snowboarder or anything. I didn't really do much with that other than maybe go fishing with it once.
Right.
But the drone I definitely used a whole lot more.
Gotcha.
I just like the way that pictures turned out, and the opportunities that it gave me. But
Yeah.
I
Nice.
don't even have it with me right now. I mean, because
Gotcha.
I had it with me last year, and you can't fly it over the stadiums.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of had a goal to like take a picture of every stadium I go to,
Yeah.
but you can't take pictures over the stadium, which I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it, because last year I didn't even use it. Like it was
Right.
just not
Right.
a to do.
Gotcha.
I didn't have the time
Is
for it.
is that a licensing thing?
What do you mean?
Like for like big league ball? Like does Major League Baseball say, hey, you can't
Yeah,
we
they'll
own the
like
rights to
stop.
this?
I guess so. I'm not sure. I mean, I took a picture of the spring training stadium. Um, I don't think there was any problems, but
Right.
it's just
They're
something
like,
I don't
nah.
want to mess with.
Right,
I'm
right.
like, you know what? I'm not even gonna try, just because it's just not worth it. I'm not.
For sure. For sure. For those kids listening, say your middle of the road high schoolers or even your college kids that are, hey, I got my 20 at bats this season. What piece of advice do you have for them for just to stay in it and go after it if it's something they want to do?
Man, I mean, part of me says like the game is just kind of changing, like in the way that people approach the game. I mean, it's
Sure.
probably changed since you've been out, and now
Oh,
like,
100%.
yeah, right. So,
100%.
I mean, just the way that people approach that kind of stuff is just changing every single year. I definitely give back. I do a camp and stuff like that, and I try to kind
Sure,
of teach them, my ways of whether it be mental or stuff that you do. But
sure.
I mean, the few words that I have for them is just to never give up, like truly never give up, because and just chasing those opportunities, like take advantage of every single opportunity you have. I mean, it's the cliche saying, but you truly never know who's watching.
Yeah,
But if you take that approach of you never know who's watching, like you're gonna put that work in to create those opportunities for yourself.
sure.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I have on that. But all this, I'm so like out of all the perfect game stuff and the rankings, and like everyone has their rankings. So it's like, I feel like it's just gotten really saturated in that way.
For sure, for sure. Well, and I've seen and just from a game changing over the course of the last 20 years perspective, right? It existed when I was playing, right? But it didn't exist the way it does today. And we also had guys with tools that were baseball players, where especially in today's game, I got a bunch of guys that have 4 or 5 tools that have a baseball IQ of 2.
No doubt.
Right? So I can sure congratulations, you throw 96 across the diamond and you can fly. And when the ball's hitting the gap and you're playing second, you're like, what do I do?
Yeah,
What
no doubt.
we're not taking an extra base, we're not doing anything. And that was one of the guys I played with that was a college D1 college coach for a little bit. I was like, hey, what are you seeing? Because you're in it all day, every day. He's like, Nick, none of these kids know the game. He's like, I need a baseball IQ or a baseball 101 course on just strategy. I was like,
Yes,
wow.
everyone is so key and easy, and have that you can just play. But I mean, you see it in pro ball all the time, guys. Yeah, um, dumb. It's like
Baseball IQ of 0. And that's really I understand the why behind it, right? Because if I'm not it just like in your case, if I'm not the guy that's throwing 98 from the left side with the disgusting stuff and a little rah-rah, I'm not going to Vixen. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows who you're just another kid out there with some decent tools. You're a hard-nosed kid and you play hard,
yeah,
and that's it, right? And that's where my like I think Joseph's your prime example there because when you look at the stat line, no, he's got you got a couple where he's going to jump out, right? But from an IQ standpoint, kid knows more than I
funny
ever
that you
did.
said the intangibles 100%, because
Yeah,
and I don't look into all these articles and stuff. My dad sent me one where it was like I was maybe nominated for like runner up of pit or reliever of the month or something like that. But like the little excerpt that they put in there was kind of funny because it was like, oh, well, here's Carr being boringly good again. Like, just like you know what I mean? Just not
yeah,
like there's
yep,
no flash behind it. It's just like you know what you're gonna get, and
right,
there's nothing wrong with that. It's just keep doing it.
right, for sure. Well, that's it's always fun. Like Joseph will tell you, he'll be the first one to tell you too, right? He's like, I just had another Joseph game. It's like, 1 for 2, the base hitter a double, 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and I made every play at second. This is what
Yeah,
I do.
maybe an RBI or two
Right.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go. Sorry. There's a sack. There's got to be a sack fly in there too. Right. Um,
yeah, no doubt.
but
I
you
thought
look at
about
this,
laying a bunt down, but I fouled it off.
right.
So
But you look at the stat line because you look out across the dive and he's not a guy, and there's a bunch of kids out there that brilliant at what they do, but they're not jumping out at you. They're like, oh hey, but from a team perspective, from a hey, I'm gonna show up every day, I'm gonna give it 110%. I would almost much rather have a team of guys that are at that 85, 90%, say tool wise, that have the
right,
baseball IQ of 100 versus the other way where, hey, sure, you can hit the ball 9 miles. And when we're doing whatever we're doing, you have no idea what you're doing.
right.
Um, what what's next for how do you stay locked in? Let's go back to the mindset side of things. Is there something you do, and you don't have to get like specific, hey, here's exactly what I do every day, but is there a resource or something you use daily that people struggling with just being on that focus side could tap into?
I mean, I would say not to take it too seriously. Like, yeah, there's a time to flip the switch on, but
Sure.
you also have to kind of I really enjoy my mornings. So minor league mornings, you have all day to
Right.
do whatever you want. Some guys might sleep in till 1 o'clock right before the bus has to leave for the field, but that's just not me. I like to, I've past few days I've gone on some nice walks and like seen places around, and that's kind of like my reset almost,
Yeah.
to sort of get out of the one bus at 1, stretch at 4, game at 7.
Right.
Like that's sort of my like, change up, and I like to, listen to different podcasts, grow my brain. Me and a buddy of mine actually we call it, working a little brain sweat, because if you just sit there and you just show up, stretch, and you feel like you're kind of, I wouldn't say getting dumber, but you feel like you're just not like challenging yourself in a different way. So
Sure.
that's sort of my out of, you know
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, that's huge because you're
hold on a second, my
if
headphones.
okay. Let me know. Can you hear me? Good? Not good?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Sorry, I guess these died.
Okay, no worries. Are you decent on? Can you hear me? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. No, I love that. Hey, I'm getting dumber, and this isn't a knock on any ball players by any stretch, but if that's all you're doing for your whole summer,
Yeah.
what do you, I wake up, I eat, I lift, I recover, I go to the field, I stretch, I throw, done. Right?
Yeah.
The keeping the brain sharp. I love the morning walk thing. Um, were you huge on the academic side in school?
I
Were you
wouldn't
a
say
big
I
kid
was
and all that?
huge. Like I didn't, take pride in it by any means, but I always was good. I was like a 3.5 to a 3.8 kind of
Okay.
GPA. I just did
Yeah.
the work, got it done, and that was it. I never really had any sort of attachment to being great at it, but
Okay.
I didn't want to do bad, that's for sure.
Right. Right.
And some of the guys that don't like it's kind of hard to do like terrible in school, I feel like, because just showing up, it's kind of like anything. When you show up and you do the work, I feel like it'll take care of itself.
Right. Right. For sure. Well, and that's how has that been really your MO in the baseball world? Show up, do best I can, go, and hey, wherever the chips fall, they fall.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, in a nutshell, that's basically it. But that's kind of what's gotten me here. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Sure. Well, it's also the show up, the consistency. If you're not there, right? Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Nick. I didn't go to class. That's why I went to three different schools, right?
Hey, that's fine.
But
That's not everyone's thing. I
for
mean,
sure. But if you just show up, you put the work in, you're there. A bunch of other people weren't there. A bunch of other people, and I'm sure you've seen it in college ball. I'm sure you've seen it in affiliated ball where you could have all the tools in the world, and if you're not here putting the work in, you're useless to the team, and you're
yeah.
not going to be here really long.
And coaches like to see like the side of like, you put if you can't take care of it in the class, you're not going to take care of it in the field. But like certain guys don't like have the care for that. Like they're going to put more work in on the field rather than
100%.
the classroom. Like
100%.
it's a give and take. And I
Correct.
don't agree with that fact of like, how you treat one thing is how you treat everything, because you don't care about everything. So that's not,
Correct. Correct. No, I'm right there with you. I am grossly opposed to how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because
yeah,
guess what? Like I don't care about
painting.
geology 101 or painting or
Yeah.
whatever here's the humanities class that you have to take. I mean, you're sitting there and you're like, I'm gonna get a B plus in this,
Gosh, I
showing up
haven't
and doing
heard the word humanities in a
it.
long time.
Right? But there are things that you care about, and there are things where if they went away and didn't exist, zero impact on your life. Right?
Absolutely.
So when you're going after whatever that thing is, whether it's the baseball, whether it's the photography, whatever it is, hey, I'm going 100% in this, and your things that you don't enjoy, you're not going to go do.
Exactly.
Um, from a just access to data standpoint, how are the Twins versus other teams? And you don't have to dive into like super specifics, but do you guys
Yeah,
have access to everything
we
that?
do. Yeah,
Okay.
we
What
have
what what was
access
that
to
like
a.
from just a paradigm shift from college into, hey, here's everything you can look at.
I mean, it's way more than you can chew. I'll tell you that. Like, it's a lot. Like half the time, I don't even bother with it, just because we're going to go over the teams. It's numbers and abbreviations that half the time I don't even know what it is, but
Yeah,
it goes into some serious detail. And yeah, we have access to it, but
yeah,
some guys dive in way more than others. Like each team will definitely have probably 3 to 4 guys that know exactly what they're looking at, why they're looking at it, and numbers to each thing. And I'm
okay,
just more of like I'm just gonna go compete with my best stuff kind of thing.
yeah,
But
gotcha.
yeah, I mean, we definitely in college, yeah, we might have had some video on the opposing team. This
Sure,
is like every single thing about everyone.
gotcha, gotcha. Okay,
So
so is that, are we talking like down to, hey, 1-2, this guy can't hit a fastball in?
100%.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. So
I
you
mean, it's even you could go even as far as 1-2. How does he do with your fastball, not someone else's fastball?
wow, okay.
Yeah.
So if we're data mining, so the analytics side of the Moneyball baseball exists in affiliated ball. And is that every team? Does every team say, hey,
I don't know
here's
how every team approaches
okay,
their sort of approach to that.
yeah,
Some are more than others. I would say that the Twins are pretty high on that.
okay,
Um, but not every team is going to be. And I don't even think every team gives their players all the access that we have to some of the stuff. Like
gotcha.
some of
Okay,
their scouting reports aren't going to be as detailed as what we do.
gotcha.
But I don't know. I mean, I've only been with the Twins, so
Right,
the
right,
stuff
okay.
that I've heard.
No, for sure. Just from watching the Moneyball world and then just watching the big league game at this point, I'm like, don't ever hit for average. I'm talking about like the little brother that's up and coming, right? The one that's still in high school. I'm like,
Yeah,
stand on the plate, hit the ball 9 miles.
that's
I still want you to have the tools, but stand on the plate, hit the ball 900 feet to left field. You're good.
it's where the
Everything else is
game's going for sure.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't see, and it's for better or worse, right? But the data world, I don't have guys that are hitters anymore. There are very
No,
few. Somebody posted on my timeline yesterday, just like Cubs leaders in batting, right? And Bellinger's leading the team with a 264 average. And I'm like, I don't know if I can hit 264 right now. I was like, but I could crack 225, 230 easy
yeah.
right now. We're just gonna swing it the ball. So we're gonna swing at mistakes
Some of the
and,
hardest
and hit
teams
for you.
I've faced are the ones that create those opportunities through just like hits. They find a way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we faced a team 2 weeks ago that was like just scrappy, and it was like
yeah,
it was so hard to pitch to because I'm like, man, these guys bat the ball is just really good,
right,
and they just create things. Whether that's defensive problems or just like that's just how they were, and it was
for
impressive.
sure. Well, yeah,
We
well,
didn't have a good week.
I didn't have every at bat was a 12 pitch at bat, and I hated it. But that's where your home run walk strikeout guys. Does that exist at the minor league level in places?
Very much so. That is
Okay,
called
okay,
fit.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that is, and they basically take into account the home run rate, strikeout rate, and walk rate, and they're all
yeah,
weighted differently. Whatever it is, not really sure, but that's what they consider for success.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's just seeing the evolution of it. I'm like, this is different, but you're also seeing just evolution of the fan as well, right? So whether you're for or against the pitch clock, cool. Can you guys challenge in high A and
We
double A?
don't have no.
No? Okay. because I've seen some that do, some that have it, some that don't have it.
Yeah, certain
Um,
stadiums, certain days of the week, certain leagues have it. I'm not really sure, but we don't have it.
okay, gotcha. Um, what's your take on that side of thing?
I like it kind of keeps the umpire accountable. So
Okay,
like if you do have the challenge, it's like there's some opportunity for you to take some of those pitches back. And like, man, one pitch really can change an at bat.
100%,
So it's
100%.
like if you get kind of screwed over on like a pitch or two, it's like, man, now I'm 2-0 and you're telling me I gotta, throw a pitch that this guy knows what's coming just because, they know what you're gonna throw 2-0 or
Right.
whatever it may be. But I like the idea of I don't like total robozone. I
Sure.
like the idea of the umpire being able to call the game and it's his game. You kind of work with
Yeah.
him a little bit, all that.
Right. Right.
But I also like the accountability of we get three chances to, take one back.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. No, it's fun. But that's another thing too, because if the technology exists, then can we use it? And if it's a challenge system, fine. And I could care less one way or the other. I just need you to take K zone off the screen. I just because I want to know that this guy's consistent and he's giving you an extra 2 inches on the outside corner the whole game, and we're not calling the inside the super inside strike. Fine,
Yeah.
fine. Get rid of K zone. It's good, but when you put that up there and then you miss egregiously,
Uh-huh.
I could care less at the end of the day as long as you're consistent
We have
and it's
a
making sense.
we have an iPad in the dugout. I think I want to say every team does that's hooked up basically Bluetooth to TrackMan
Yeah,
that tells you where every single pitch is. So
right.
like you'll be sitting in the dugout on the very end and you'll hear on the other end coaches being like, "Come on, Brian," or whatever it is, like that's right there. And it's like it's a pitch that's just right there on the zone that he like
Yeah,
maybe call last inning. But it's
right.
just funny to see like the iPad and everyone's like, "Oh, was that a strike? Was that a strike?" And
For
then
sure.
yeah,
Well, yeah, well, and that's the thing. If it exists and you're looking at it,
yeah,
why can't we use it? I think it helps both sides. I think it helps the batter a 1,000%. But as a pitcher, I know exactly where I need to be, and I don't know if they call the high strike anymore, right? But they never called the high strike when I was playing.
yeah,
They call it once or twice. But if you get the high strike back, hey, now it's a real zone, and that hanging curveball that everybody's taking for whatever reason can become a home run pitch again, or the fastball up that I'm not swinging at because it's right at my hands. Okay, fine. Give that back to
yeah.
you guys, and now we know exactly where it is all day, every day. Um, we already did the hey, here's what we're doing for the kids listening. Is there anything else that drives Jordan that we don't know about?
I think we kind of wrapped it up. Just that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I've always done a pretty good job at take advantage of the opportunities that are, that keep getting presented, to me. I've been so, blessed with all these opportunities and, just being able to prepare yourself to take advantage of them. I think that's
Yeah,
just it's just huge just because you never know, whether it be when you never know when it's your last one, you never know when you're going to get
yeah,
another one. So just kind of always put my best self out there. I think
yeah,
that's what kind of keeps me going. Yeah,
for sure. Was that a learned trait, or was that hey, I can throw off the bump. Let's go. I'm the guy.
yeah, a little bit of both.
Okay.
Definitely a little bit of both.
Nice. Nice. Okay. All good, man. Jordan, where can everybody find you? And then when can we expect to see these new amazing drone pictures if they're coming?
Well, to answer the second question first, I would say in the off season, I might
Okay.
dabble with it again a little
Okay.
bit and maybe kick that Instagram page back off, which is Drone with Jordo.
There we go. I'll
But
tag it.
on the social medias, I think I'm across the board underscore Jordo7.
Okay. Good. Good
Yeah,
stuff, man. No,
should be.
Jordan, thanks for the time. Thanks for sharing your story. Go out there and kill it today, man. And if you need anything from me, reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
Awesome, bro. Later.
Yeah.